Hello everyone, happy Friday, and welcome to another episode of Let's Be Honest with Leo and Luna at Lotus Path Holistics. My name is Leo and I am a spiritual medium specialized in past life therapy.
Hi everybody, happy Friday and happy Saturday to the rest of the world. So my name is Luna and I'm a karmic resolution facilitator. I work with karma, trauma, limiting beliefs, conditioning across lifetimes, and also I create spiritual art as well. And I'm so excited that we're starting season 2!
Yes, so let's talk about that. So let's be honest, it's a project that we decided to put together with the holistic principles and education that I was working with and bring in our special guest here who has a lot of insight to share with you guys. So last week we talked about, hey Caitlin!
Hi Caitlin!
So last week we talked about spiritual awakening. Last week was our 10th episode of season 1, and it was a great time having all those 10 episodes. This season, we decided to do something focused on spirituality. So from this episode and on for the next 7 episodes.
Hi Carmen!
Hey Carmen! We're going to have a step-by-step process of understanding the basics in regular life and how to solve that so that we can awaken our spirituality and awaken our spiritual gifts. That is the goal, and always, hey, Ohio!
Ohio, Roxana!
So that's what we're going to do. So this episode begins the first of the season 2, and it's going to be all based on spiritual awakening and spiritual gifts along the way. So it's going to be lots of fun. We're glad to have you guys. And we're back for season 2. We just couldn't get enough of it. So just a lot to teach, a lot to go through. So let's begin on this topic. So we're going to bridge off the topic based on spiritual gifts and understanding how to build spiritual gifts, how to awaken them, and also how to get away the distractions that get in the way of those talents manifesting themselves. So we're going to talk about the video that I actually posted on Wednesday. It's called The 6 Paths to Awakening Your Spiritual Gifts. These 6 paths are based on the 6 types of consciousness and awareness in humanity. It's also based on the 3rd lesson of my curriculum on my website. Also, it's there as well. It's basically how to understand energy in the universe and what builds upon our reality. So it also matches our inner worlds, and our outer worlds, they follow suit. So we are going to talk about the inner worlds and the outer worlds, the inner gifts and the outer gifts. Now, everyone has spirituality, right? Everybody is spiritual. No matter who it is, if they're the most, unemotional, unempathetic person in the world, they're still spiritual. And everyone has this...
They're actually closed off.
Yeah,
Let's say that.
They're blocked. And it's just how it goes. And so definitely something that we'd love to share with you guys is how that goes and how to awaken those inner and outer worlds, because it's true. People are usually blocked away from the spiritual gifts. I mean, I spent a lot of my life blocked away because of things that I've been through, and it's usually trauma-based.
Yeah.
I would say so. Yeah, definitely.
Been there, seen that.
So definitely something to focus on. So the inner gifts, as I described them, there are 3 inner gifts and 3 outer gifts. Inner gifts represent the gifts that you have within you that represent your inner world, inner thoughts, inner feelings. They also represent your thoughts and intentions, things before your actions, things that happen, and your basic spiritual developments. So these inner gifts are things that usually people can manifest somewhat in their life, no matter what they do. No matter how they go about their life, they will learn it. As they mature, they will manifest these gifts in some way, shape, or form. And then the outer gifts have to deal with the actions that we take, the awareness that we build, and also untapped potentials. So let's begin talking about those gifts. And what we're going to do is we're going to have our expert here. She's really gifted in a lot of things that she does, so she's going to be able to bridge all of the sort of basic educational stuff that I came up with and that I channeled out for you guys, and then she's going to bridge that gap and then explain more of the advanced steps of how to build those things that we're going to explain over the weeks to come.
Right.
So let's begin with the first all the way from the top, which is basic creativity. So it is the first of the inner gifts, And it is something that we're born with. We're born being creative, and we're born with the freedom to be creators. It is based in our creational consciousness. It's our soul consciousness. It is just who we are. We are created by nature. So it is something. Hey, Dema. Hey.
Hi.
Welcome. So creativity is something of a skill that a lot of people don't really take advantage of. And you see it a lot in artists. You see it a lot in people who are very spiritual in the way that they meditate a lot, they imagine a lot. And you see it a lot in just creative professionals, like sculptors and painters. They inhabit that spirituality in their creative nature. But we all have it. Everyone has that ability to be creative. So it has to do with, your enlightened state, your balanced state. Your creativity also deals with your clarity and your focus in the world. And then now Luna's going to talk about how we take creative to the next level and what it becomes when you become advanced.
So I created a post today talking about my own path and how the last month have been so transformative and how my life has completely changed in a sense where everything that I have learned from my past lives, everything that I have learned even from my future self, everything is in this moment right now. And I wrote quite a bit about it. Hi, Di. So I read quite a bit. What is it to be able to take those basic skills that we all have and take it to the next level? And as Leo said about creativity, it is a thing that, okay, go back to your childhood and remember, every child is creative. And it doesn't have to be creative in a specific way. So let's say some kids play with blocks. So their creative skill is to be maybe someone who could potentially be an architect in the future, or someone who loves kind of like more structured creation. Then you have someone who loves art and literally just loves just like painting, drawing. There's another level of creativity. Someone can be a wordsmith, right? So takes words and creates poems or writes essays. So creativity is not just, painting or drawing, or it is so much more than that. And because each one of us is creative, you need to define your own creativity. So for me, I remember from my childhood, I always created, hey Steffi! So I always created these abstract designs that right now they are my light codes. And so they bring manifestation to people that work with them.
That's a good point.
And so this is when I work with them, for the first time, things started happening in my life. And just by being creative and allowing that energy in a specific design, that would just manifest. Then, writing. I write quite a lot. I mean, you guys, if you know me, you know that I write quite a lot. Mm-hmm. Through writing, I have manifested quite a lot of things in my life because this is my creative state. So you need to ask yourself, what makes you feel creative? Even if you go outside in your garden and you just tend your plants and you water them and you feel your creativity is working just with the plants, this is where it is for you. So don't limit yourself as to what creativity is. For each one of us is unique. And sometimes it can just be something that maybe no one can really understand. And it's okay with that. Just embrace it. And it is when your manifestation and you being a creator or a creatrix, as for the divine feminine, this is when things will start happening in your daily life.
Agreed, yeah, because I'm the same. I have a long history of art and stuff, and over the years when we had met, like I was creating all kinds of designs and drawing and writing, and it helped me learn how to manifest my own abilities. I understood that my abilities as a psychic was manifesting through my art. Mm-hmm. And same for you, right? So honing in on the basic principle of creativity, you as a creator, that itself opens the doorway. That's the first path to your inner world. Opening that your spiritual gifts is understanding that you were born a creator. So then you are a creator, period. And everything you do creatively opens up the doorway for your spirituality. It's that first doorway that opens up that can help you manifest everything else.
Yeah.
So it's something that we both started with. And it started, because that's the beginning of our journeys. All throughout our life, we were drawing and writing and doing creative arts because it's a way of expression. It expresses the soul. So definitely don't be afraid of creativity. I think what you said was super smart. Like, it's your own type of creativity, your own flavor. Whatever that is, who cares what people say? So
let's say another thing that we are creative about. I didn't know about it. It just happened. Creating tea. Cheers. So so Leo and I, we just, we go to, the store and we get, how you call that tea that's kind of like in
loose
its,
teas.
Yeah, loose tea.
Yeah.
It's like more in its raw state. And so we crumbled it with our hands, the flowers, and we create tea. And sometimes we say, so I'm creating a tea for me to feel peaceful. And it's not just about the flower. It's about the intention and the creation that we put inside, the tea. And then Leo cooks a lot. So sometimes he's like, I'm creating a truth soup. Remember how many times you say that? The soup to speak the truth.
Yeah.
And we have the soup, and then we just come up with some crazy stuff. And we're like, I don't know where that came from. Like some knowledge that we didn't even know where we even channeled that from. But
that's true.
This is another form of creativity. So that's why we're saying whatever you put your energy in and whatever you feel, I would just say, more in tune with your own soul, with yourself, just go for it.
Oh, yeah.
This is your creator point.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Dawn. Hi, sweetie. Thank you so much for being here.
Definitely. So let's talk about the next gift. So the next of the inner gifts, the second inner gift is intuition. And intuition is very popular because it is that second step in the process of awakening your spiritual gifts. And intuition is something that people have already. It's one of those things that's natural and you can build it over time, not even trying to seek spirituality, but it's something that is a key doorway to opening your spiritual gifts. Intuition has to deal with your universal consciousness. It is the consciousness of everyone that's united as one all around you. And intuition is based on you then inhabiting that space with everything else around you. So it's your intuition about people, things, events that happen. Intuition is about your inner knowing. It is about your truth-seeking abilities to find out who you are and what you want.
Yes, you can be very creative.
Oh, absolutely.
Ask Leo.
Yeah, so I'll get to that in a second. So intuition is definitely part of that universal mind that we all have. And it's something that is deep within us, and I usually definitely practice intuition just by sort of understanding how things happen and sort of predicting things on my own and understanding that there's an inner knowing within us all that we have to embrace in order to ignite our intuition. So to answer that question, gentlemen, yes. Cooking can be super creative. Creating anything is creativity. So you're doing it on a daily basis, making a sheet of paper with a pen and then making the drawing, or everything is creativity. Cooking is creativity. They're all expressions of creativity. And they're all expressions of art. So any sort of art form expresses your soul. And it just so happens that your soul is creative by nature. You are a creator. So use cooking healing, because next week is going to be specifically about manifestation and creativity. We're going to go even deeper in that and sort of understand that. So it's going to be really cool. Definitely. So then Luna's going to let us know further how you can take intuition into the next level and how to bridge that gap.
So, from my experience, I was trying to understand, what exactly intuition is, because, when you say it is inner knowledge or it is your inner compass, you're like, what exactly is that? And you cannot trust it. You know why? Because you don't even know what that is. When you don't know what exactly intuition is, you just hear from other people, but what does it really mean for you? And so intuition from my experience is our inner knowledge from past lives. Across lifetimes, you have learned so many lessons. And you have learned to tap into different timelines, past, present, future, parallel lives, everywhere. And so that part of yourself knows quite a lot. So let's say you are going at work, right? But so many people say that. And I just felt, just taking a different way today. I didn't even know why I felt that. And then they just avoided an accident. I have said that so many times because so many people say that, oh my God, that just saved my life.
Yeah.
And it is true. And they say, how did I know that? Because a part of yourself is tapping into the future. And once you trust a part of yourself, this is when you get into the next level. And that right there is, how would you say, Leo? Kind of like, no, psychic abilities is a thing, but I don't want to say in a sense where...
Spiritual senses.
Spiritual senses.
I mean, this is where we tap into the clairs.
Yeah, clairs.
And just being able to see things from far, feel things from far. It's based on that basic intuition. That's where we get it from.
Right. So then what I was pretty much talking about today on my post, saying about all your senses as the next level. So clairaudient. I'm clairaudient, and so when I hear things, sometimes I would just say, maybe just something that I heard. I'm not sure about it. But once you believe that part of yourself, what I'm hearing is true. I have channeled quite a lot of knowledge from that. Or I can hear a warning, or clairsentience, in a sense where I do know something for sure and I'm not even questioning it. So you take it to the next level. Or let's say some people, smell something like, oh, it smells like a perfume. I know exactly where this is coming from. So it could be from, from a friend who passed, 15 years ago. I know that smell. I know who you are. And it's not, oh, I'm just smelling something. Who could it be? Oh, I know exactly where that is coming from.
Oh, yeah.
And this is exactly the next level where you can identify what are you hearing? What are you seeing? What are you smelling? What are you tasting? So all your senses, they're engaging, and you just exactly know what is it, where is it coming from, and what's the message. That's the most important.
Oh, 100%. I think that intuition is so misunderstood, because we're definitely going to talk about that in a few weeks.
Yeah.
Because listening to intuition takes way more than just having it or expecting it to be heard. And leading to abilities, that, we spent so many years mastering, way too many years. It involves not just opening your intuition, but also understanding that your intuition is natural to you, and it's natural to everyone, especially how you connect to the universe. And if you want to relieve that blockage, you do have to understand that when you open up your mind to the world, you're opening up to a lot of dark stuff too. And that's the problem. That's what stops people from seeing clearly. The basic thing, which I'm going to talk about in 2 weeks, is people want to avoid the negative. And that's why your intuition is not open usually. Usually it's because you don't want to feel, the person down the street crying their eyes out. You don't want to feel the spirit on the street who is wailing because they're stuck in a karmic loop that they can't get out of limbo, or it is those things that stop us from seeing our clairs and our intuition and our ESP, because that's the truth. And it's something that a lot of people don't want to acknowledge because it doesn't really sort of sell the idea, but it's the truth though. You can't stop it. And the truth is that like Gemma said, intuition and universal consciousness, it's love. But with love, there's also the other side of the coin. There's pain, there's hurt, there's all kinds of stuff. So those things, when you can open up your intuition to the light and the dark, that's when your spiritual gifts in that universal consciousness of who you are explodes. Yeah. Because then you're open to the balance of the universe, and you're open to not just the light but the dark, and then it just opens. It opens wide open. So that's definitely something that I'll talk about soon. Steffi said, what does it mean when you have those random experiences without trying, knowing, smelling, feeling, and other feelings? Yeah,
this is exactly the clear part where your senses are enhanced already, and they send you just messages, and they would just want you to acknowledge them. And I just feel that I will just tell you this. Nothing is really random. We think that it is random, but something must have triggered that. Perhaps it is some energy work that you have been doing. Maybe you have been meditating, journaling, or maybe even watching, podcasts or listening to podcasts or watching spiritual videos, or you're interested in learning more about intuition or the clear senses, right? And so that part of yourself starts working already. Subconsciously, your soul desires to get into the point. And so one day, physically, they start manifesting. And you're like, but where did that come from? It is the yearning of your soul to just advance and get to, to the next stage of your soul journey.
Yeah. And something to point out, we can turn all these gifts upside down to understand how you actually manifest them. Before we move on to the third one, to move back to creativity manifestation, I mean, if you're going to embrace your creativity, you have to also embrace your destructive nature. Mm-hmm. And that's the key. Also, another key to manifesting your true spiritual self is to understand that you are not only the creator, but the destroyer as well of many things. And to destroy is also to create. So understanding that duality is super important. And we're definitely going to get in detail next week about that one.
I mean, think what the kids do when they go to the beach, right? And then they create these adorable sandcastles. And what do they do when they're done?
Destroy it.
They kick it, right?
Exactly, because it's the natural cycle of life.
Yeah, so then they try to create a new one. And they're like, oh, I'm going to make a better one. So they just try again.
Mm-hmm.
And it's absolutely fine. Just when you create something, you destroy it. Not because you want to destroy, but because you want to learn from the process to create something better. So this is where you're advancing.
Oh yeah, we're going to talk about that next week. All right, so let's move on to the third one.
Hold on. Roxana says, so intuition is also a manifestation from the past. Yes. So your intuition, from my experience, I would just say it is your knowledge from past lives. And also, in this lifetime, in our pure state, we are like that during our childhood again. During our childhood, we are the closest to the previous, incarnation, correct? And so this is why kids are so intuitive. And so they say things, and then sometimes when you tell them it's not that, they say, no, it is. And they're so sure of themselves, but of course, years and years of correcting the child, it creates that limiting belief and that locking, right? And then they forget, because when you teach them that it is not normal anymore, they create, walls around them, and they forget what intuition is like. And so, hi Michelle. And so, intuition means that you need to go through everything that you were taught about your spirituality. It could be religion, it could be spiritual beliefs, it could just be anything that is holding you back. And all these doubts, they don't come really from us. It comes from the society or the family that we're born in, right?
Yeah, because it's either, because like those things that stop our spiritual gifts from progressing is either the past life or this past present.
This past.
So like your childhood is still past. So that's why when you explore past lives, you explore past lives and you also explore your childhood. Because those things are past you and they're relevant to what you're doing now. And they're relevant to how you changed into the person you are. So yeah, intuition works the same for sure. So moving on to the third one. The third basic inner gift that, is very popular as well is intelligence. It's intellect. It's understanding through mental consciousness how we communicate with the universe around us. So we're talking about discernment of the truth, and understanding what's true and what's false, understanding how we express ourselves to the world and other people, understanding how we are connected to everything, which is the previous lesson, but it is also how we bridge that gap and we understand that our connection to everything is unconditional. We can't disconnect from things. So therefore, you're channeling information all day. And that mental consciousness leads towards an intellect that is a basic thing in our life. That basic intellect leads to intelligence or ignorance. You never really know. It can be either way. We all have a piece of intellect. We all have a piece of ignorance. It just really depends on when you use it properly. But how that functions and how that advances to a new gift is through understanding things like channeling and channeling knowledge, which my friend over here is going to give a lot about.
So what happens is usually when we start, in a spiritual path, many of us, they say, oh my God, I meet my guides, or I meet, my angels, or whoever you connect in the spirit realm. And so while you're doing the energy work and while you're connected to that universal intelligence, right? A part of yourself is questioning the physical world, questioning the news, questioning information that you receive, questioning everything. So look what is happening. While everything is questioning your physical life, nothing is questioned on the spiritual realm. And so you have a disconnection of your physical body and your mental consciousness on the higher realm. And so when I work with my soul clients, I always say, you need to get to know what information you're receiving and from where. For example, They say, oh, my guides, but who are they? When you question your physical life, and this is the first awakening, right? Because this is the first time that we say, oh my God, I feel smart in the sense that I know what exactly is happening around me. But what is happening on the higher realm? When you get to know your guides, when you get to know your angels, or when you get to know your ancestors, whoever you're working with, you know exactly where you get your information from. But if you start channeling and getting information from a universal source, where, let's say, many people use that source. There's so many different names I don't want to put out there, but you guys might know already some of them. Oh, I channel this kind of entity, or this kind of, cluster of souls, right? And I get information. But how do you know? Do you know them? And that's a basic question. It's kind of like meeting someone down the street and give you information. Do you trust the person down the street? How would you know who are they? Don't you want to ask, hey, have I met you before? Where? Who are you?
Yeah.
What's your profession? It's just like, do we have common friends? And you take the same knowledge and you apply it to, to the spirit world. And this is when you clear knowing, it is a whole new ballgame. I would just tell you that when you channel information, you know exactly what you're channeling and from who and why.
It's so true. Yeah, definitely part of understanding, like, we all have intelligence. We have, like, a mental capability that we have to embrace. And it comes off the back of our intuition. There's a clear channel of energy through your gifts. You manifest them in order from your spiritual life into your physical life. So intelligence is also about knowing what's true and what's false. It's a lot like intuition, but it's different, because you are now discerning the difference between those things, understanding what's true, what's false, what can or can't you trust. And that is completely intelligence. That is very spiritual gift, because you have to use that intuition and build it now to a new level. That new level is now channeling knowledge and understanding how you trust yourself. And even today, like in the beginning, I was terrible at channeling. Oh my God. But I had to figure out in which way I channel energy from other dimensions or spirits or past lives. So for me, for you, it was more like you were like visual and just knowing when you channel information. For me, channeling information is it's audio. It's sound. So I channel it through sound. Like I can speak it out through my voice, which is something that she taught me how to do. And then I will channel that energy through sound, and that'll be that intelligent knowledge that comes through. But I do it differently, and she does it differently. But everyone does it differently. But it's about practice and trying to filter out the negative, but also filter out the lies. So the duality of this gift is that there are truth and there are lies. Not everything you see in the spiritual world is real. Some things are illusions, and you have to know which ones are real and fake. You have to know who to trust, and you have to be able to understand that Just because people lie in this, universe and this world doesn't mean they don't lie in higher dimensions. So there's a lot of that understanding, which we will talk about in 3 weeks.
The truth is, we say as above, so below. And, whatever,
Same.
right? So
Same.
whatever happens in our world right now, it's happening in the higher realms. There's not much of a difference. It's kind of like the difference is the frequencies, the energies,
100%.
and, it's a little bit different. That's why sometimes, I had a client and she was asking me, she's like, we just regress, angels and they have a body. I'm like, yeah, some of them do have a body. Like we do. It's not the same frequency, but it is very similar.
Yeah, it's true. So those all together, your creative nature, your intuition, and your intelligence, those are the inner gifts. Very, very well-known spiritual gifts, but they lead towards manifesting and psychic abilities and channeling knowledge. And to get there, you really have to open up to those gifts. And we're definitely over the weeks to come, we're going to show you throughout the lives how to do that and sort of, how to go further and unlock those spiritual gifts. They're very common and they're the beginning of everything. And they're the inner gifts because they are internal and they're how you receive information internally. The next three are external. They are your outer gifts. They are how you take your inner knowing and your inner spirituality and you express it to the outside world. It's when things get really physical and they get real and they get emotional and everything, all the above. So we're going to go through those now. So definitely the outer gifts start with the first one, which I call power. Because every spiritual person, every person in general has power. It is about your spiritual consciousness. Hey, Michelle. Yes, exactly. So exciting things to come. So definitely there is power in all of us. And that inner power is something that's really hard to grasp and to control. And it's something that a lot of people don't really get because we call it energy, frustration. We call it when you're overstimulated or you just don't have enough energy and you feel like you need something, that's the power. That's that energy, that power, that influence. This is about the influence, the strong will, your mission in life. You're how spiritual people have a lot of high, value in missions and determinations. It is how bright your soul is, how bright your spirituality is. That is your spiritual consciousness. That is your power. That is your powerful influence over the world and over your life. And this power that we are born with, our presence, our spiritual presence, it is something we all have, but it turns into higher developed skills in the outer world that have to deal with actions and awareness. So they deal with and lead to how we use that power, how we impress people, how we lead people, because all of us spiritual people, we influence so many people. When we walk in a room, we influence everybody. We don't embrace how powerful we are. We are leaders. Spiritual people are leaders in this world. We are not followers. So you have to ask yourself, how do you lead? And who are you inspiring? Because all of us have the capability to make movements and inspire masses of people. But how do you do that? It starts with your spiritual gifts and understanding your power. The power you were born with. Your spirit had power from the very beginning. And our trusty co-host is going to tell us all about that. So,
taking the power and bring it to the next level, it can be very frustrating because, many people say that when you're a spiritual person, you have to be humble and you have, to allow others kind of like to co-create with you. And then, but you feel as a leader. So kind of these things clashing, just back and forth.
Yeah, it's like that feeling that we have, like, I feel like I'm meant to do something.
Yeah.
That fuel, power.
So when it comes to the point, it gets frustrating because you want to just push ahead with your soul mission. And then you just feel that perhaps you clash with other people or you will be judged for who you are. But when you are leading and when you're inspiring, you just move beyond the spiritual gift. And you're confident. So the power, that fire becomes confidence. So in that way, how they say in Japan, with the bamboo, right? It moves with the wind. It doesn't break. It just adapts. And so this is exactly what happened. So when you get to the next level by recognizing your power, recognizing your gift and what that is, you just walk ahead and you don't expect anyone to follow. You just move. Those who resonate would not follow in a sense as a followers, but they would just walk by you because they see what you stand for, and they would just move with you to where you're going.
100%.
And it's not much of a leader, but it's not of a follower. It's kind of like of a very equal, I would just say, situation. It's a little bit difficult to describe it. You really, really need to experience. It's kind of like, imagine leaders co-leading. If I can put it that way. That's exactly how it feels.
Yeah, because, the advanced understanding is that when you're a spiritual person and you want to advance that skill, you have a spiritual presence that is felt all around you. Wherever you go, like, people feel your spiritual presence. I recently gave a reading to, someone who's actually in this chat. And I expressed to her that, your soul energy is just all over. It's everywhere, around the house, around the city. It's around everywhere. Most spiritual people, their energy just expands outward because of this power. This power within you, it's a presence that's beyond. And it's a spiritual gift that a lot of people are not comfortable using because it involves you getting personal and getting out there and like we're doing right now. It took a lot of power, it took a lot of confidence to do this, video project this year. But we took all that power and we're centralizing it to something that we can do good with. So that's a good example of taking your power and then maximizing it to an advanced level, is taking all your spirituality and doing something monumental with it. You're moving entire mountains of people into a new level. Your skills, using your creativity, your intuition, your intelligence, and using that into your power and helping people with their creation, with their intelligence, with their intuition. How do you do that? That's that spiritual gift. That's that advanced gift. And it's hard to do. It's actually much more difficult than the other spiritual gifts. Like it's much easier to sort of, develop your psychic abilities. But to take that and merge it with your spiritual essence and then express that, it takes confidence, it takes discipline, it takes willingness, it takes no fear. Because you have to let other people feel your soul energy, no matter their intention. It's hard because you got to know who to trust with your intelligence. You got to know who you're expressing yourself to, so that with your intuition, so that you don't get used. You got to use your creativity to get out there. So power is that extra level of sensation in your physical life, and it is deeply an advanced skill that we all need to master. And it's gonna be something we look forward to talking about.
And at the same time, you have to be humble. And not in a sense where you make yourself small, but knowing that the great power that you have in inspiring people, you are, it takes great responsibility, but
great
also
power comes great responsibility.
Yeah, but I know for me that when I bring all that to my own, space, somehow I feel balanced and at peace.
Yeah.
And it's a very odd feeling confident, but peaceful and happy that I know that I'm exactly where I need to be. And I'm on a good place to help others. And it's very, very powerful itself.
Oh yeah, definitely. And one other thing to note about power is that it has its own duality. Every one of these gifts have their own duality. With power comes great responsibility, but power can be corrupted.
Yeah.
So you can simply turn your power inside out and become like a huge black hole and suck people in and suck their energies in and become an energy vampire. That's the opposite of a spiritual person with high amounts of power in them, power and ability and spiritual essence. When somebody gets so hurt that their confidence is so low that their spirit is broken, they become like a black hole of energy. They suck in power. And you don't want to become that, so you have to be humble. You have to humbleize yourself and take responsibility for your spiritual essence, because wherever you go, people feel it.
Yeah.
And it is a spiritual gift. It might not seem so, but it's a gift that you're born with and you should embrace. And it's how you get all those psychic abilities to express themselves. They go through your spiritual consciousness. So it's going to be something we look forward to talking about. It's going to be awesome. So, Steffi said, I was just thinking today about how grateful I am for the space you are creating for me to join and breathe in. Thank you.
Oh, of course. Thank you too. And thank you, for everything that you also do and for sharing your own experience. I appreciate you and thank you for everything.
Oh, of course. Yeah, we're glad to have you, and also we feel your power and we love it. Yeah, it's a good essence, a good spiritual essence. All right, so then the second of the outer gifts is something that's seems basic but is very complex, and I'll explain why. Empathy. Being an empath. We all hear this a lot, and everyone is an empath. We all know this. It is your emotional consciousness. It is your high sensitivity, someone who is good at connecting others and connecting with others, and also unifies people through that power and through that energy. All that comes down from the higher gifts, or the inner gifts. And empathy, being an empath, is more than just resonating with somebody's energies and their emotions. It's more than that. It's about taking empathy to the next level, which Luna's going to expand on. Empathy is so personal to me because I use empathy to do my entire spiritual practice. I use empathy and energy together to basically read everything, the past, present, and the future. I do it in my own way. And empathy is an advanced skill. And how to get there it's as complex as power. It's even more complex because it involves your emotional state, meaning if you're emotionally imbalanced, you can't empathize right. And it involves being balanced when you need to be so that you can be there for people when you need to be. So take it away.
So the next level of empathy, I would just say that you are technically one with everyone and everything emotionally. Mm-hmm. And it can be quite exhausting. It can be scary because it requires you to be vulnerable. And it is a state that I would just say that when I'm in that state of feeling that connection with everyone and everything, it is one of the greatest gifts that I have during my shamanic journeys. I have actually even located lost souls. I have located soul family just by connecting to their pain, to their troubles, and I'm just finding exactly what the people I need in my life. And it feels very scary, especially if you are in a vulnerable state. So for example, if I'm sad, right? And if I'm going through some really dark moments, then I start attracting, because of empathy, I start attracting people who are in the same state. And so, because it's so great, that creates a vortex itself of wounded people all around my energy and around themselves. And so you can imagine how great that is. But I'm so very grateful because when you get empathy to the next level, I would just say, it is perhaps when empathy develops, when you actually telepathy develops. You don't need someone to talk. You just know how they feel. You just look at them and you just know their pain. You just know their thoughts. You know what they're going through. Sometimes people need space and they're like, don't talk to me. I just want my space to feel. You know exactly what they're going through. And so you don't just empathize, because sometimes empathize means you stay in that state for a long time. So you absorb those emotions. You take that and then you take a step back and you respect the space and you allow them to be.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. You're totally right. And advanced empathy is something that takes to the next level, because empathy and intuition have a strong bond, very strong bond, because there's these interconnected abilities and these consciousness levels. And intuition is like inner knowing about like the thought processes and understanding what you see and what you spiritually feel. But empathy is that outer knowing. It's knowing how things are, how they really are. And empathy, feeling empathy for something is stronger than feeling intuition for something. And you wouldn't believe it, but it's actually harder to do. You know, I feel intuitionally that you're going to get that job, but can you empathize with that person to understand the struggles that they're going to have to go through to get that job? Which one's harder? Empathy. So it's like empathy solves more issues, but it's also really hard to do because it involves the inner struggles and then bringing that out to the outer world. So empathy is also a very advanced skill because in my practice as well, I can use empathy to see everything. It's about reading energy the way it is. And with empathy, the advanced skill is to be able to read all forms of energy. Every form of energy. It's beyond intuition. You're now taking physical forms of energy and you're acknowledging them and you're reading them. That's advanced empathy. It's emotional soul resonance. And emotional resonance takes it to a whole nother level, which we're going to get to in the lives that are coming. And I'm going to explain further about what I do and how I do it and for you to understand the miracle of that and to understand that all of that is based in basic things that we all have. We all have the ability to empathize. Now, can you take it to the next level? That's the question. So it's definitely interesting. So the last gift, and you're welcome, Dai. The last gift of the outer gifts of your spiritual gifts and your spiritual awakening is healing. And healing is one of the hardest gifts to master. And the problem, it seems like the easiest, but it's not. Because as we often say, the healing that you receive from a healer is as balanced as the healer is.
Yep.
So if somebody does not have all of their other gifts in line, your healing is incomplete. So it's unfortunate because people all the time get lackluster healing, lackluster education, lackluster cooking, lackluster creativity, lackluster intelligence. You get lackluster stuff. You get stuff that is less valuable because it comes from a person who is not completely balanced within themselves or can't bring their balanced soul to the equation. So healing itself is part of the physical consciousness. It's reparative. It's about how you repair your physical reality. Healing is that energy that every spiritual person is just expected to do. Oh, are you a healer? That's what people ask all the time. I'm a psychic. Oh, you're such a healing energy. That's because it's the most physical representation of my spirituality. It's my aura. It's my creative nature, deep in my intuition, being intelligent, bringing all that knowledge down. Then it goes into my power, embracing that, empathizing and letting it go out there, and then actually affecting people's life. Am I healing people or am I hurting people? That's the question. Am I repairing? Am I fixing things? Or am I bringing people down? So this gift is about healing because it is about you being a supportive person, a protector, a nurturer. It's about you fixing things. It's about taking spirituality to the next level. A spiritual person, I believe, on this planet, we're meant to fix things. We're meant to fix all this craziness. So this ability of healing leads towards advanced skills, which Luna's going to talk about, which we call energy work or just energy in general. What can you do about healing and energy? Is it positive or is it negative? What kind of charge are you giving off of your soul energy and all the rest of your gifts?
Yeah. So the interesting thing is that when people talk about healing, sometimes say, I use universal energy to heal. I use, sometimes people say my own energy, I infuse it with my work to heal. But no one really speaks about the energy of the person who receives. And so what does it really mean? So the advanced skill, when you awaken in that spiritual gift, when it comes to energy work, you have to let go of your ego. And when I'm saying the ego, not who you are, but what you have learned so far. So how that feels like is when I work with my soul clients and when I bring healing to them, I don't bring healing according to what I think. I bring healing according to where they are. And how that manifests, in a sense, is that perhaps healing could come from a place that I would have never thought. I just have to facilitate that energy from whatever that comes from their soul. Because perhaps let's say that they need energy from their ancestors. So you have to be the person, the in-between person that creates the bridge for the person and their ancestors to bring that information and tell them how to heal. And so when it comes to energy work, you just need to know exactly what the person needs. Know what you think they need, but what exactly they need. Mm-hmm. And so that requires empathy. That requires to be creative, intuitive, to know intelligence, I would say that where exactly comes from. And also comes from your own power, because you know how much you can influence that person. So the ultimate spiritual gift is healing itself and become literal energy work, because energy could just come from anywhere. You just need to be open-minded, and I would just say one with the universal knowledge to know exactly what the person needs, how they need it, for how long, and how you can help them to get there.
True. And healing, I feel like, is also a metaphor and a synonym for rebalancing. So when you're healing someone, the path of healing, and because it's something that we naturally do. Kids, when they're around you, what are they doing? Healing you. They do it naturally. But
animals do it too.
Animals do it too. They heal you naturally. But how? You gotta ask yourself, how do kids and animals heal you naturally? That's because they're one with their innocence. And it's something, that's the last of the next 6 videos that I'm going to make, and then the lives that we're going to do. We're going to talk about healing the inner child. And because healing starts within. And when you heal all that inner child, you heal all your karmic wounds, you heal all of your emotional struggles, all those things, that's fixing and rebalancing, coming back to an equilibrium that you were born with. And the truest healers can embrace their inner child and use it to their advantage to give healing. So that gift itself, healing, becomes the advanced energy work that we can use in our life everywhere. The things that we do, like when everything a kid touches is precious, or it can hurt you. Everything a kid touches, they can fix it, they can make it beautiful, but then all of a sudden they could just ruin it. And then, oh, I want to touch that knife, and then they get cut, or, oh, I want to touch that plant, and they're like, oh, it smells so good. So it's healing is like a representation of the true physical consciousness. It is how your life either fixes or doesn't fix, creates or destroys, and it has a duality with creativity. So it's definitely something we're looking forward to talk to, because we wanted to be talking about inner child for a while. So, yes. We are definitely looking forward to these lives for sure. And for the next 10 minutes, feel free to ask any questions you have, guys, and we'll be able to answer you guys. Thank you. You're welcome.
You're welcome, Roxana.
Yeah, so there's definitely dualities here. So the first and the last skill and spiritual gift are connected. Creativity and the healing factor of our physical life, they're fully connected. Intuition and empathy, fully connected. Intelligence and power, fully connected. So there's all kinds of dualities going along that way. I might just make an article about it because it's so in-depth, so we'll have to see. But it's definitely something that we're looking forward to. We have our little list here of the episodes that are coming. So let's be honest, season 2, we're going to move on from episode 11 all the way to 17. And so this will be the titles of the next videos to come. So this one and this video and this live podcast that we're doing now is going to be Awakening Your Spiritual Gifts. And the next 6 videos are going to be about those 6 gifts and just tips on how to work with them. And also how to apply them to your real life, because that's the real problem. It's not about developing a skill. Developing the skill is the first step. But what about actually applying your spirituality to your physical life? That's the problem. That's the problem that usually gets in the way of spiritual awakening.
What's next
Next week
week?
is manifestation.
Ooh, sounds good.
Yeah, manifesting. Usually people talk about manifesting money. I mean, we'll talk about that too. That's fine.
Yep.
So next week is going to be, let's be honest, about manifestation. And then the following week's going to be about, let's be honest about listening to your intuition. Following that's going to be, let's be honest about discerning the truth from the lies. Then it's going to be, let's be honest about reclaiming your power. Let's be honest about embracing your empathy. And then finally, let's be honest about healing your inner child. These are going to be those 6 steps on how to awaken spiritual gifts over time and apply your spiritual life to your physical life, how to fully spiritually awaken. So that's going to be really good stuff.
So Steffi asked, is it possible to learn gifts but revert? Been there, seen that.
Oh, yeah.
And so when you have encountered a traumatic experience, it could just be anything.
Yeah.
Or even being taught otherwise, these gifts can revert. They don't disappear. They just pause. So kind of like think how when it snows and there's ice, but you know, under the ice, everything is alive, right? Just frozen for now. That's exactly what happens with the spiritual gifts. They don't disappear. They're just frozen in time till we understand what exactly caused that and how we can bring it back.
100%. Yes, spiritual gifts, they definitely leave us when we lose our innocence, which we're going to, discuss over time. And that's the same theories in past life therapy, which actually work. Be aware of both past life therapists. And the truth is, you remember all your past lives in this lifetime until you lose your innocence. Why? Because your spiritual gifts are disconnected because of trauma.
Yep.
So in our life, we go through that as well. So understanding the different types of gifts is very key to understanding how to fix those things. And because being able to see past lives, they go through the same levels of understanding. Through these 6 consciousnesses and these 6 pathways to those spiritual awakenings, because your past lives have to deal with, you bringing down the information from your creative soul and then using your intuition and being intelligent about it,
yep.
Embracing your power, empathizing, and then bringing it to your physical life for healing and balance. So definitely, even past life therapy is very much a spiritual gift. And it's something that we've been, practicing for a long time. But we can tell you that it hasn't been easy, but it's possible.
Yeah.
And awakening your spiritual gifts is very possible. So we look forward to helping you, all of you, understand the basics of how to unlock your spiritual gifts into the next level. It's going to be awesome.
Yep. Looking forward to it.
Yeah. So thank you guys for joining us. Yes, thank you, Steffi, Michelle, Roxanne.
And if you guys have more questions about what we just talked today, because in the next lives we're going over for each one of them, just leave your questions and we will answer them to the podcast that relates to.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
Yep.
leave your questions in the comments and stuff like that, and we'll definitely give you our best advice.
Yep.
Yeah, we've seen it all. We've done all these explorations with the gifts way too much. But we have a lot of advice and experience to share, so it could be very interesting, and also sharing your spiritual gift stories as well. Because we all go through that. We all have our gifts, then lose our gifts, then have our gifts, or lose our gifts, It's like a muscle. You have to practice it, but then you also have to understand that it's natural. We all have natural gifts, and it's going to be a great ride. So definitely feel free to leave your questions and comments and stuff like that, and we'll definitely look into it.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, so look forward to see you guys. Thank you so much. Look forward to next week with manifestation and learning how to be a creator. It's gonna
Have a beautiful Friday and Saturday, the rest of the world, and we'll see you next week.
All right, see you soon.
Kisses, bye.
Bye-bye.